G'day Year 12 and welcome to another YouTube lesson. Today we're going to take a look at two of the syllabus dot points from HR, from Human Resource Management, and they're our first two ones we're going to address in the whole topic. Those two dot points are the long-term role of HR, and the second dot point from the syllabus on human resources is interdependence with other key business functions. Both of these are part of the overall role of human resource management. Later on, not this lesson, but in a few lessons' time, we'll move on to the influence of human resource management. But both, again, the strategic role of HR and interdependence of HR with the other business functions, they come under this subheading of the role of human resource management. Now, what is human resources? It refers to the process of managing employees in a workplace. Okay, HR management, the management of human resources, refers to the approach taken by management to their staff. In essence, what type of leadership does the management use? Is it democratic? Is it laissez-faire, etc.? And also, what type of induction and training programs do they offer? Or what type of rewards, etc., does human resources make use of? Now that we've got those two definitions, which are vital with HR, the HR definition and human resource management definition, it's important to delve into the actual strategic, the long-term role or job of human resources, what it's there to do in the long term. There's three time frames that we look at in business. That's the strategic role, which is from the syllabus, which is the long-term role of 3 or more years. It's not written in the syllabus, but I think it's vital we know it too. There's the tactical time frame, whether it be HR, operations, marketing, whatever. Okay, the tactical time frames about 1 to 3 years. And there's the operational time frame, which is anything less than a year, the day-to-day stuff, or anything up to a year. So there's an operational time frame for HR, even though it says operations, operational. We're not talking about the operations business function. It can be a bit tricky. We're talking about a time frame. So the short-term / operational time frame for HR, the medium, the tactical time frame, and anything that's planned for human resources over 3 years, more than 3 years or 3 years, is known as the strategic role of HR, or the strategic time frame in terms of HR. Now, HR management is a strategic approach, or has a strategic approach, i.e. it is a long-term approach that incorporates all aspects of this management between the employer, the boss-employee relationship in the workplace. It includes functions such as recruitment and how to recruit for the long term, equal employment, equal opportunity, EEO, training development, in particular with development. It's a major strategic focus. How to develop workers for their own benefits, but also for what the business or company needs in the long term. Separation is part of this strategic role. You know, what's happening with the business cycle? What's happening to the technological changes? Do we need to shed staff and so on? That's a strategic focus. And how all this can be aligned to achieve the business goals, in particular in the long term. Now, an increasing number of businesses take a strategic or big picture approach to managing workers. They do this by two main ways: seeing an effective workforce as a way of adding value to all areas of the business's performance. Another additional way that they use this big picture approach is to focus on the use of specific HR management strategies to retain, reward, motivate effective and skilled employees to achieve the business objectives. Now, in terms of the strategic role, you probably also need to look at some major challenges that HR management are likely to face in the coming years, between 3 and up to maybe 10 years' time. And some of these challenges include the developing and retaining talented staff. That's something that's a big issue for them. And that is a strategic focus too. How do you develop and keep this talented staff? How to improve leadership development? How to manage an aging workforce? You know, the average age of Australia's population is getting older and older. So these social influences we'll look at later on. How, as a HR manager, do you balance that to retain older workers, to keep them interested in your business and want to work, but also to try and fill the gaps, to develop and to retain young, new talent so that they can fill those gaps when the old people end up retiring or moving on. They need to take a look at this increased role of technology, and they need to take a look at perhaps maybe needing to increase contracting out, known as outsourcing of employment. That could be a focus in the long term. You see two main businesses in Australia, but all of them really, Qantas and also Bonds. Some good case studies there, Year 12. They outsource large parts of their manufacturing, and that's been part of the strategic role of human resource management. They've done that with the long term in mind, and that's the key. Anything that's done with HR for the long term, for 3 or more years. Now, the second syllabus dot point we're going to address today with human resources, again coming on this role of HR, is the interdependence with other business functions, with other key business functions. How many business functions are there that we have in business studies? 1, 2, everything. If you guess 4, you're right. Again, we talked about it with the syllabus: HR, operations, finance, marketing, in no particular order. That's just how we do it at our school. So we need to be aware of how HR works with, say, finance or operations, how they're reliant upon marketing and vice versa. We're going to give you a few examples now of how HR is interdependent, connected, relies upon other business functions and vice versa. And you'll find that this actual dot point is looked at in every single business function. So by the time you get to the last one, you don't even need to really look at it because you've done it with all other business functions. Okay, HR and finance, how are they connected? Well, put simply, HR is the workforce and how it's managed. Again, I want you to work on, textbook Band 6 definitions, but that's straightforward. It's the workforce and how it's managed. Finance is the coin, the cashola, the money that's in a business. So how are they connected to each other? Well, workers need to get paid. Finance part of that. Workers help through operations and the transformation process. They help create the products. There'll be a good or a fancy service like you're seeing now. And therefore, without the workers there, at least at this stage, with more robots and capital labour substitution, it may change. But the workers provide the products that's sold that generates profit, income, and sales for the business. HR with operations, how's that work? I've already touched on this a little bit. And it's so interdependent that even in operations, through the transformation process, there's actually, in the inputs, there's actually HR mentioned in it. We take a look at the transforming resources. And you'll see that when we do operations. And when I conned you into doing business studies with the fairy bread, I showed you that thing, the transforming resources or the agents of change in operations. And it's got facilities, which is the equipment from operations, the factories, but also as part of operations, the other transforming resource, the other agent of change that changes those transformed products is HR. It says HR, human resources. So let me put it simple. Stuff's not made without the workers. So operations relies upon heavily human resources. Now, the last business function that's interdependent with HR is marketing. Out of all the business functions, pretty much, I'd say that marketing really relies heavily on human resources. Why? It's massively labour intensive. Without the workers there, the human resources, marketing campaigns aren't devised, products aren't effectively marketed. These days we have, there's my dog out there saying hello to the neighbours. Marketing relies on the workers to be able to have that relationship marketing, to be able to produce the advertising, to be able to help design the products. So it's massively joined, interconnected, HR and marketing. All right, guys, thanks for listening. I hope you've got a better understanding of those 2 syllabus dot points. See you later.